Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Delighted to have in the studio with us Dennis Richardson, Representative Richardson, who is now the Republican candidate for governor of the state of Oregon. And he is hot on the trail. He just informed me he's leaving in 3 minutes, whether I'm done with the interview or not.
No,
how are you?
I won't walk out in interviews like the governor did with K2 television.
Yeah. How are you?
Doing fine.
How's it going? It's
going extremely well. All over the state, people are becoming excited about the concept that maybe Oregon can be saved. You know, people have felt disenfranchised for years. Like the governor only represents the I-5 corridor from Eugene north. Right. And that's not the case. You know, he wants a fourth term so that he can see if he can figure out cover Oregon, I think. But the people are done with him, I believe. I think that it's not even going to be close. I believe that we're going to win, and we're going to win substantially as long as we get the message out, which is a challenge.
So I would say cover Oregon is the big mess. Is that the one people are responding to, that and maybe jobs?
Well, those are the two issues, and education. Cover Oregon is the poster child for fraud, waste, and abuse. And so now you have a sitting governor who's under FBI investigation, his staff. They've had last week a grand jury meeting, behind closed doors, taking evidence from his chief of staff and from other executive branch leaders. And you've got the GAO, a federal audit taking place. I mean, the eyes of the country are looking at what happened to what was it was estimated at $250 million. It's now going to be $300 million burned up on a website project, and we still can't enroll somebody on our website project from beginning to end.
It's amazing. And if there is some kind of a ruling that comes down, the state possibly would have to pay that money back, right?
I don't know. That we have to find out what the truth is. The governor spoke before a legislative committee a couple of weeks ago, and I happened to have been there. I didn't know he was going to speak, but I asked if I could sit with the other legislators. And so he spoke, and he said, we're going to get this money back. We're going after Oracle. And so here you are, 8 months after the failed website, and now he figures out that it's Oracle's fault when Oracle was on a times and material contract. They did not have any responsibility to run anything, only to take direction. And Oracle says there was times when we had 100 of our programmers sitting while behind closed doors there were arguments going on between Cover Oregon and the Oregon Health Authority on whether the name line should be #1 line or should be #3 line. I mean, silly things that would go on because they didn't understand the full impact of what they were trying to accomplish.
Dennis, the bottom line here is the state of Oregon's got to get some new business in town.
That's right.
If we don't start getting some companies moving to this state and make doing business in this state easier, we're in big trouble.
We need to be exporting products and services to other countries and other states, not exporting our kids to other states because they can't get a decent job here.
So, what's the answer to that?
The answer is, first you have to have leadership. Right now we have the management of the status quo. We have Governor Kitzhaber who wants a fourth term, and yet we've got higher unemployment than national average. We've had that for 16 years. We need to remove the barriers to businesses, invite entrepreneurs and investors and innovators and inventors. We want them to come to Oregon. Instead, we drive them away because of our barriers, the regulations, the delays, all the permits, all the fees. I mean, if Phil Knight was a young man trying to put together a company today like he did before, he wouldn't be able to do it.
All right, so what's the deal about education? Why is that at the top of the list?
Well, Governor Kitzhaber ran saying, I will be the education governor. And what was his solution? We bring in Rudy Crew at $284,000 a year for part-time to fix education. And after a year, he leaves, and the governor then hires a very qualified woman and gives her 70% of the pay. I mean, it's really funny. The problem is that we have 48th in the nation in graduation rates. I mean, almost a third of Oregon students are not graduating with their classmates. We need to ensure that there's equal educational opportunity for all students, that the future of a student should not be determined by the zip code that their parents happen to live in.
All right, let me give you a hypothetical. You and the governor are in your first debate. Have you had one yet?
No, July 18th.
July 18th, where?
It'll be Bend. It's the Newspaper Publishers Association, and they're having a convention.
Okay. What's he going to throw at you?
I think he's going to say I'm too conservative for our state.
Oh, I just want to know.
I think that, I don't know what he can come up with. We've done our own adversarial research on me, and it hasn't turned up much because, I've tried to live a good life.
You've done that very well. Let me ask you this. You have gone on record saying that you warned the governor over and over and over about Cover Oregon.
Yes.
I would assume you have an email trail of this.
Absolutely.
Can you produce those in a debate?
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, he told K2 News up in Portland that he didn't know about the problems until October of last year, meaning after the launch date. And this is his legacy project, and he didn't know till after the launch date that there was a problem. Well, they started snooping around. They finally made their way to me because I had been the co-chair of Ways and Means, and I said, that's ridiculous. I sent letters to him in September of 2012, more than a year before the launch date failed. I talked to him personally in front of a witness. I gave them copies, and that began the kind of the revelation that here's a governor who's not honest about what he's done wrong, who's not taken responsibility, who has been away without leave. I mean, the guy was AWOL. He's committed gubernatorial malpractice. and he's got to admit that to waste $350 million of taxpayer money, I mean, that's 3,000 teachers for a year. I mean, what could we have done with $300 million? And it's just like a huge, huge pile of money, and just lighting it and watching it burn up because it's doing us no good.
Do you think the state needs to be trimmed down as far as state government is concerned? Is it too big?
Oh, absolutely.
So what would you do?
Well, we need to analyze every program and every agency and ask the question, if this program did not exist today, would we create it? And if the answer is no, then why are we funding it? And so we need to prioritize and have the courage and the ability to actually defund those things that have outlived their usefulness, take that money and apply it to our top priorities.
Whatever happened to wage and hiring freezes?
Oh, it was only talk. There was step increases. It's always about looking like you're doing something relevant, not about actually doing it under the current leadership. And
the other thing is, it appears that we've had these issues before. We're going to do administrative oversight, and somehow that never gets done. But a lot of these agencies can raise their own fees, can impose some heavy fines and things like that. Can that be brought back in for review?
It really can. The governor names over 300 individuals to boards and commissions, and they have a lot of power. And we need to review these things. It's been over 20 years that we've been building this bureaucracy, and so you have middle management and leaders that have not been elected who assume tremendous amounts of power. And that needs to change. We need to be evaluating the whole concept of what's fair for both sides in each of these boards and commissions.
All right, so you're in your closing comment of your first debate. And why should we send John Kitzhaber packing and elect Dennis Richardson?
What I will say is that John Kitzhaber has made promises that he's broken. He's promised to oversee the government, and yet we have wasted money, hundreds of millions of dollars on the Columbia River crossing, on the Cover Oregon. A recent one that's just shown is $71 million wasted on a project, an IT project for Health and Human Services. It is a disaster that we cannot afford John Kitzhaber for a fourth term. It's like baseball, 3 strikes and you're out, John.
Okay. By the way, the bridge thing. Is that going to go anywhere? Is Oregon and Washington going to work this out or not?
Well, eventually. I mean, one of the responsibilities for government is to build bridges. I mean, it's infrastructure. And so now you have some legislators from Oregon and some legislators from Washington getting together and saying, okay, we know we've got a 100-year-old bridge. It's not about light rail like the last project. What are we going to do to lessen traffic, to ensure safety, and to plan for the next 100 years?
Okay. You've traveled to China.
Yes.
And you see some real opportunities there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we buy products that are made in China. We send our dollars to China. We want to make sure that those dollars come back not just to buy American products, to buy Oregon products. And so I've been on 11 trade delegations, 10 I've organized, where we take Oregon producers, products and services, business owners and legislators to China to help them understand that we are in business. We want them to come to Oregon. We want them to buy our products and services and bring those dollars back into Oregon. The key to jobs for Oregon is expanding our GDP, because when you have companies that are selling more, they have to hire more, and that's the key for family wage-paying jobs.
I know you're on it. I'm going to let you go after this question. Governor Perry has done a phenomenal job going into other states and getting businesses to move over. Why not? I mean, is there a model in Texas that we could implement in Oregon to get more companies to come here and do business?
Well, absolutely. But what they did in Texas is they removed the barriers to business and made it inviting for businesses to come. Now, we happen to have we have such a beautiful state with the geography.
Who wouldn't want to live here?
That's right. I think we go to Texas and say, now you've been in Texas for a couple of years, maybe you want to take a look at Oregon.
Yeah, you're hot and dry. Come on up north.
I lived there in flight school when I was training to fly helicopters for the Army, and it's a pretty severe climate there.
All right. I know you got to go. How do people get a hold of you? Want to work with your campaign?
Well, I'd love to have help if they would call 541-601-0083.
Okay.
That's 601-0083. Or if they go to DennisRichardson.com. And we need volunteers. We need people that would be able to spend 3 hours a week or more, because we need to get the message out, and we're going to do it in several different ways. We also need contributions.
Sure.
The money is the lifeblood of a campaign.
Sure.
We have to get the message out in Portland. That's very expensive. DennisRichardson.com would help.
All right. Best to you, friend. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll be right back.